have you captive. You're slaves. Joseph is a descendant of Jacob. Jacob is a descendant of Isaac. Isaac is a descendant of Abraham. Abraham came from a heritage where there was soothsayers, astrologers, all these people with a history of being able to anticipate the future, to, hear from the gods and know things that were unearthly, otherworldly. And so that's Joseph's family lineage history, even though they were moving away from it. It comes back to bite him again, and so that's where he's at. And so within that club, he's understood to have something genetically, something in his history that gives him some extra access, understanding, capability. And so he gives this interpretation to Pharaoh. Pharaoh says, only God could have revealed this to you. That's exactly what my dream was. Now that I understand it, that it's 7 good years and 7 bad years, and we need to store up goods for the 7 good years of plenty for the time of famine to come. And because Pharaoh did what Joseph told him he had to do, he told Pharaoh, he told Joseph, since God revealed to you what the dream was and what the meaning was, I'm putting you in charge of storing up everything and getting ready for this famine that's coming in these fat years that are here now. And so Joseph's in charge. He becomes, the right-hand man in the kingdom of Egypt. And because of what Joseph did, he did end up doing exactly what the dream was when he was a small child. He became the ruler over his brothers. And the coat of many colors, they were, all ended up being different tribes. Each tribe had certain colors that are depicted in stones later in the whole Jewish history. And so that coat of many colors, that coat was descriptive of that, those different lineages, and him being in charge of all of them, and that's him wearing it was symbolic in that way. So here Joseph is, he's there in Egypt. When the famine does hit and it gets really, 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 really bad, Jacob's family is starving to death, as are people all over the world. They bring all their riches and they exchange it for food, and Egypt becomes fabulously wealthy from all the stored wealth in the region that comes in just to get food to live for a day. And because of the wisdom of Pharaoh in following what God through Joseph had said was going to happen. And so with this time of famine and chaos and turmoil, Jacob's family goes down to get some stuff. A couple things happen in the family. One thing, another happened. It's a long story. I'll let you kind of read it. I don't want to get bogged down. But Jacob's family ends up moving down to Egypt, getting a house there, living under the protection of Joseph and Pharaoh in great wealth. Joseph is a hero because he's made Egypt fabulously wealthy. He's become a protector to people in that region of the world, because everybody else didn't see the famine coming. Only Pharaoh and Joseph, and then under their control, because God showed them, became fabulously wealthy, and other people in the region were starving to death, and they saved them because they had foresight, something that was about to happen, and were able to get out of the way of it. But over time, what Joseph did was forgotten by later pharaohs and later rulers, and the family was still there. And so over a period of decades and centuries, the people of Abraham's children, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob's children, became slaves in Egypt by increments. We talked about the frog in the pan and gradually heating the water. Gradually, they became interlopers, and they became a threat because they were breeding profusely. They were beginning to have huge numbers because they, you got plenty of food, you got a good environment, everybody breeds to outer space, and pretty soon you got, hundreds of thousands. And became kind of a threat to the Egyptians because they weren't as prolific in their breeding. And so they wanted to enslave them more, put more work in there, give them less time free to think about anything other than just working to make Egypt rich and pay taxes to Egypt and everything else. And they became slaves in the land. Linda, that's our situation here in America right now. These people are following the Egyptian model. They are working day and night to create new taxes, new ways of enslaving us, tying us down, binding us to be at their service to build up their empire, their way of life, their God.